Welcome to Football with Cheese. All right, it's NFC West time. We're six down, two to go. I will have the AFC West out by tomorrow. So make sure you are subscribed so you never miss a video. Enable alerts as well. Let's just get right into it. The Los Angeles Rams. I almost said St. Louis Rams. I still do that. The Rams made some good moves and some somewhat questionable moves. So what the Rams did is they traded back out of the first round. They didn't have a second round pick. They traded it in last year's draft. So it makes sense that they moved out. And not only did they get the Falcons' second round pick, they got their first round next year. Great move. So they didn't pick till 46, and they selected Terrence Ferguson, tight end, Oregon. So I like Ferguson. He's got speed. He's athletic. Not much of a run blocker. He has a great feel for zone coverage and getting open. He has that in common with Travis Kelce. I'm not saying he's going to be that good. Unlikely. But he can eat up his own defense. The biggest problem with Ferguson, besides not being a great blocker, is he had too many drops. And a lot of them were while he was on the run, like running a crossing route. He's fine if he's in his zone and stops, turns around. But when he's on the run, he just had too many drops. I thought he'd go about a round later than this. Elijah Arroyo was on the board. He went 4 picks later to the Seahawks. We'll talk about them in a second. Maybe they're scared off by Arroyo's injury history, but he's just a better prospect, in my opinion, than Ferguson. And the Rams starting quarterback Matthew Stafford might play 2 more years in the NFL, maybe just 1. So you can use those 2 first-round picks in next year's draft to move up and maybe get your heir apparent to Stafford. Josiah Stewart in the 3rd round, edge rusher Michigan. Really productive player. He's undersized. He's a designated pass rusher only, but late 3rd round, that's really good value. Jarquez Hunter, running back Auburn. So I thought he was more of a 6th or 7th round pick. He's got a lot of speed, undersized. He's kind of a one cut and go. He's perfect fit for their offense. I just thought there were better running backs on the board. Ty Hamilton, Ohio State. He's a good pass rushing defensive tackle. He's undersized, so probably not a starter. So basically, besides Ferguson, Rams just got a lot of good backups in this draft. Stewart, designated pass rusher backup. Jarquez Hunter, he'll be a backup running back to Kyron Williams. Ty Hamilton, backup defensive tackle, come in on pass rush situations. And Chris Paul Jr., linebacker from Ole Miss, he will likely just be a backup. He's only about 220 pounds, probably a core special teams player. So I'm okay with this pick. Once you get to the 5th round, I'm okay with you starting to take special teamers only. And Kanata Mumpfield, wide receiver Pittsburgh, to be honest, I'm surprised he was drafted. Maybe he's a return man. He'll have to make it on special teams. Next up is Seattle Seahawks. There they are. So this is one of the best drafts in my opinion. I didn't grade them, obviously, but if I did, they would be my top 3 for sure. Grade Zabel, 18th overall. So he's a guard center only. So positional value might not be the smartest pick according to analytics, but I love this pick. Gray Zabel dominated the Senior Bowl. No one could beat him in a rep. He's a plug-and-play left guard. That's where I think he's going to play. And a huge need for the Seahawks. He's just an absolute stud. Nick Emenwari, another good pick. They moved up for him. Most people had him in the 1st round. He is maybe the most athletic safety to ever come to the combine, and he's 6'3", 220. He just had some inconsistent tape. And that's the problem. There was a lot of good, and there was a lot of, well, he's just a guy. So that's why he's there in the 2nd round. This has the chance to be one of the best picks in the draft. Elijah Arroyo, just talked about him, tight end from Miami. He had some injury issues until this year. Probably why, Terrence Ferguson and Mason Taylor went ahead of him. I think Arroyo is a better prospect than either one of them. Really good receiving tight end, runs good routes. Jalen Milroe, late 3rd round, love this pick. His upside is tremendous. He ran a 4.40 at 6'3", 220 pounds. And he's got a great arm. He needs a lot of work as a passer, but you can put him in certain packages, goal line packages. You can play 2 quarterbacks on the field. He can play with Sam Darnold, and you can give him jet sweeps. You can throw it to him. Let him run the ball. There's so many things you can do with him while he develops. So I absolutely love this pick. All 4 of these picks were just outstanding. I just think Seattle got so much better. A lot will hinge on Sam Darnold if he plays like he did with the Vikings last year. Didn't have a fourth round pick. Riley Mills, Notre Dame, defensive tackle. He's undersized. He's probably going to play in pass rush situations only. This is about where I thought he'd go. One of the biggest steals to me, Torrey Horton, late fifth round, Colorado State wide receiver. I thought he'd go third round. He was so good in 2022 and 2023, but he got hurt this past year. Maybe that's why he fell. Maybe some teams had a medical red flag on him. And typically Seattle will be more lenient when it comes to medical than most teams. And then Robbie Outs, I'm not sure how to say it, from Alabama tight end. Thought he was more seventh round priority free agent. He needs to be an inline backup blocking tight end, but he's got short arms, so that limits his ceiling as a blocker. So he'll have to play special teams. And then they took Bryce, Cabledew, Kansas, hope I said that right, offensive tackle. And then let's come back to Damian Martinez in a second. Mason Richmond, offensive tackle, Iowa. I want to group them together. Both of them played tackle in college, but they have to move to guard. They just don't have the length to play tackle in the NFL. And they're both good athletes, but the production wasn't always there. So that's what you're doing late in drafts with offensive linemen typically. This is where you draft special teamers. So if you're drafting offensive linemen, they're typically athletic, but the production hadn't been there. They're moving positions. So maybe these guys can develop into starters. So they basically drafted 3 guards. And yes, it was a huge need. They needed starters at both spots. Damian Martinez, running back, Miami, very powerful runner. I thought he'd go higher than this. He had some unbelievable games and some other games where he was just okay, and he's not going to give you much in the passing game, but he has tremendous upside. Seattle did not need a running back, but 7th round, this is great value. And then Ricky White, the third UNLV, I thought he'd go a round or 2 higher than this. He's tall, but he's got a thin frame, and he gets bumped off routes pretty easily. But for the 7th round, this is a really good pick, and he'll probably play special teams. Overall, just a really good draft. Seahawks fans have to be ecstatic after this. Okay, next up, we're going to go all the way back up here to the Arizona Cardinals. This is probably the biggest boom or bust draft I've seen in a while. Arizona could have a top 5 defense in a few years because of this draft, or the GM could be fired in a couple years. And here's what I mean. All 3 of their first picks, their first, second, third round pick, were really talented guys that have tremendous upside, but they come with some risks. Walter Nolan, stud at Ole Miss defensive tackle, good run defender, good pass rusher. The problem with him is character. There's rumors of maturity, not a great locker room guy. No doubt about it, he's a top 15, probably top 10 player in this draft if you just take away the character concerns. Dallas almost chose him at pick 12. Came down to him and Tyler Booker. So this has a chance to be a great pick. He'll be a 3 technique, and it's a huge need for the Cardinals. Another huge need was corner. Will Johnson would have gone in the top 15 for sure if he didn't have the injury issues. He's 6'2". He's a really good zone corner, good ball skills. Obviously, I like this pick, but there's a rumor out there that teams don't believe he has the speed to be an elite corner, more of a number 2 corner. I know he didn't run the 40, and he claimed, I think, a hamstring injury. He's had a lot of different injuries, turf toe, knee, all kinds of stuff. If you're running a 4.6 when you're practicing, then you're going to say you're injured because that could only hurt your draft stock. He probably would have fallen further than this if he had run like a 4.64 or something like that. I'm not saying he is. He could be a 4 or 5 guy, but a lot of teams didn't just move him down because of injury because they just didn't think he had the speed to be a number 1 corner. But at worst, I think he's a good number 2 in his own scheme. Jordan Birch, Oregon, 6'4", 280, great size, good length, good athleticism. Not a good run defender. It almost looks like he just does not want to stop the run at times. I'm not saying he's not trying. It just looks like he didn't always give the most effort. These 3 picks could all be bust, but they could all be outstanding starting players. Jordan Birch probably goes around higher than this if it wasn't concerned about his run defense. Will Johnson, it's injury related. Walter Nolan, his character. But the Cardinals improved their defense. They had to. They lost a lot of close games late in fourth quarter where their defense could not get a stop. For a while there, it looked like they might win the division. So their defense has a lot more talent. If they hit on these guys, they're going to be a playoff team next year because they have a very good offense. Cody Simon, linebacker, Ohio State. He's about 6'2", 230. I thought he'd go a little lower in this. To me, he's more of a solid backup special teamer than Denzel Burke, corner, also from Ohio State. Ooh, don't watch the Oregon game early in the year. He got burned. He just not good in man coverage. And he's undersized. He has to be in his own scheme, just like Will Johnson. Obviously, Arizona's going to play a heavy zone scheme just by how they're drafting. So, 5th round, yeah, that's about where I thought he'd go. He was a rumored to be a day 2 pick before that Oregon game, and it was just really bad. Next up, we have Hayden Conner, the only offensive player that the Cardinals drafted. Just like we talked about with the Seahawks, he's athletic, not the most productive player. He started at left guard, but maybe he can develop into a starter. They need guard help. And Kenton Crawford, safety Nevada, it's all about special teams with him. One more team, San Francisco, went from first to worst, went from in the Super Bowl to last place in the division. And the 49ers really need to nail this draft, and I just don't think they did. I think it's a bottom 5 draft. The 49ers lost a lot to free agency and release and trades. So they needed to nail this draft. And I just don't think they did. Let's get into it. I did like the Mikael Williams pick. It is a risk because he played hurt last year and he's not been the most productive pass rusher. He's a very good run defender, and he's got the size you want in a defensive end. He's 6'5", 265. He's got the length. He's got the athleticism. So this is about where I thought he'd go in the 8 to 15 range. He would not have gotten past the Falcons at 15. Alfred Collins, Texas. I thought he would go around later than this. Good run defender, but he's not going to give you much in the pass rush. I think this was a reach. And an even bigger reach is the next 2 picks. Nick Martin, Oklahoma State linebacker. He's 5'11", 220. He just does not have the size to be a starter. Even 5th round, I would have been okay with this. He can be a really good special teamer, fill in if someone's hurt, but this was a major reach. And Upton Stout, Western Kentucky, listed as a corner, probably needs to play safety, but he's so small. He's just too small to be a starting safety. These 2 guys, to me, were 5th, 6th round special teamers, and they took them on day 2 in rounds 2 and 3, and they really need to nail those picks. Their 4th round pick, CJ West, to me is better than anyone they took on day 2. I had West, I think 76 on my board. He's a little undersized for a nose tackle. He played nose tackle at Indiana. He's about 6'1", 314, but real productive, high character, might have to play 3 technique. He has pass rush upside, better run defender at this point. I love that pick. That is definitely their best pick. Then we have Jordan Watkins, wide receiver, Ole Miss. I'm shocked that he was drafted this high. I thought he was a 6th or 7th round pick. He's in that Ole Miss offense that it's so tough to evaluate. But he is a good athlete. Maybe they can develop him. Jordan James, running back, Oregon. Very productive player. You watch the film, you think this guy's going to go higher than that. But his workout was poor. And Devin Neal from Kansas was on the board. So I just thought this was a little bit of a reach. There are just a few running backs available that I had higher on my board. Marquez Siegel, safety, Kansas State. Another guy I did not have this high. I didn't think he'd be drafted. Have to make it on special teams. Then Curtis Rourke, quarterback, Indiana. He's got the size you want in a quarterback. Maybe they can stash him on the practice squad a year and he can develop into a good backup. Connor Colby, guard, Iowa. Another athletic lineman that maybe can develop into a starter. And then Junior Bergen, Montana, wide receiver. It's all about special teams with him. They're drafting him to be their return man. So that is the NFC West. 1 division to go. One thing I forgot to do with the NFC South and the AFC South is go over consensus draft grades that Renee Buchter, I think his name, put out. So they had Carolina 11th. Yeah, I'm a little surprised they're that low. I thought they'd be more in the 5 to 8 range. But the Buccaneers, also 11th, so they tied. Yeah, I can see that. People like Benjamin Morrison better than me. I thought Carolina had better draft than Tampa. Not significantly better, but I wouldn't have them tied. And then they did not like the Falcons draft, 26. I get it. They only had 5 picks, and they give a first rounder next year for James Pierce Jr., who has possible character risks. And the Saints, they had 28th. I don't think I put them that low because they really had a good day 3. I know day 1 and 2 are more important, but I could see them not being in the top 20, but 28th, they're better than that. And then the AFC South, let's see. Where are any of those teams? Jacksonville Jaguars, 10th. I think that's a little high. They gave up too much, in my opinion, move up to get Travis Hunter. I know he's a stud, but I would have them lower than that. And then we have the Titans at 15. Yeah, that's about right. Middle of the pack for the Titans. Texans, 21. Colts, 22. Texans, I agree. They're in the 20s. Colts should have been higher than that. 22. Colts would have been in my top 7. Maybe not top 3, but they'd be in my top 7. I'm surprised the Colts are that low. And obviously, the NFC West, let's see. So Seattle is 3. That makes total sense. Let's see. Arizona Cardinals 14th. Yeah, middle of the pack. It's a boom or bust draft. They can have 1, they could be 32, just based on who they picked. And then we have, okay, I see San Francisco's 27th. Yeah, I might even have them lower than that. And then I cannot find the Rams. It's like they're not on this list. Oh, here they are. 17th. Yeah, that's about where I'd have them. Might have them a little higher just because they got that first rounder next year from Atlanta. All right. So make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like. It helps the channel so much. Comment down below which team in the NFC West did the best, which one did the worst. Probably a lot of you will say the 49ers did the worst. I would agree. Share this video with anyone who loves football. We're trying to grow the channel. Check these out if you have not, and I will see you in the next one.